some of the old cars that I've owned, I remember my first car was a Citroen Saxo, the West Coast. It was a yellow car, and I completely modded that car. I had like big alloy wheels, 17-inch calm wheels that wouldn't even fit on the car. Had to tear out all the arches just so the wheels would fit. I lowered the car, put a big exhaust on there. My next car from there was a Honda Civic Type R. So any of you Honda lovers out there, leave a comment below if you are. Honda's been one of my most favorite brands, one of the most reliable brands. Never had any problems with them. I had a Honda Integra DC5, which I imported from Japan, a Honda Integra DC2, a Honda S2000. One of my most joyful cars, and a lot of you, if you know my background, you know that I made a lot of money in real estate. And by the way, what I did to get into property, I sold my Honda S2000 and to buy a Ford Mondeo, which actually is quite a decent car. It does, I mean, the mileage is great, the MPG is great. I got like 500 miles from a full tank. From there, when I started to earn more income from property, I bought my first Lamborghini. So I bought my first Lamborghini Gallardo, which I had for about a year and a half until I crashed it. So that's the thing, when you buy a car so powerful, you know, you really have to learn how to drive these cars. So at the time I had my business partner Vincent Wong in the car, so that wasn't a particularly good experience. And from there I moved from a Lamborghini Gallardo into a R8, so an Audi R8. The Audi R8 was again another great car to drive, but the problem is the gearbox kept overheating. We then went into a yellow Lamborghini. So this one was great, the only problem is it got stolen. And then I changed into a third Lamborghini, so the Lamborghini Gallardo, a third one. Again, that was perfect. That was a 2008 Gallardo, amazing, loved it. An interesting fact, I bought that car for about £78,000 back then. So back then it was a lot of money. And when I sold the car, I sold it for £73,000. So in 5 years, I didn't really lose any money on that car. So it just goes to show, when you're buying cars, you also want to be mindful of which model to buy, because it will tell you which is good and which is not good and what's going to hold the value. And some different models have different residual value. The Hurricane is, I would say, one of the best drives I've ever driven. It's got dual gearbox. Like if you look at the Lamborghini Gallardo, it's like when you're driving it, you have to take your foot off the gear to change gear. And I've had different models of the Gallardo. I have the manual gearbox and the paddle shift. But the Hurricane is such a smooth drive. Again, one of the best cars I've owned and also driven as well. Actually, in between that, I also had a Ferrari 488, which is the worst car I've ever driven. I'm not a good driver, and when you put the power down, it's got about 650 brake horsepower. So for me, it just didn't. I just couldn't control the car. So from there, that's when I went to the Hurricane. So now we are on our way down to Pangbourne to pick up my brand new car. So the Hurricane is now gone. It's sold, and I got a really good price for it. Again, it's knowing where to buy the cars and how to buy them, because if you buy them right, you don't lose that much money, and you get all that money back and use that money to invest that into another car. And you know, it acts as it's kind of like property. When property goes up in value, you sell it. The difference, you pay off the mortgage. The difference, you use that for your next, to go towards your next car. In Pangbourne, there's actually 3 garages. You have the Aston Martin garage, you have the Bentley garage, and also you have the Lamborghini garage. So the question I have for all of you is, what car am I going to get? A lot of you think, well, John, are you going to get the Lambo? Well, I've already had 3, 4 Lambos already. So, and my business partner Vincent Wong, drives the Aston Martin. So, maybe that. So, yeah, when we get down there, you'll see a little bit more about that. Hey Sarge, how far to the destination? 30 minutes, okay. 30 minutes to go. So we have just arrived in Pangbourne. It's taken about an hour and a half to get here. So now you're wondering, okay, what car did John get? What model did you get? A lot of you are saying, did you get a Tesla? Did you get an Aston Martin? Did you get a Bentley? Did you get a Lamborghini? Did you get a Ferrari? Well, we're about to find out. Come follow me. So over here, oh, there's a car coming. Now this is a Superleggera Aston Martin. Beautiful, beautiful car. But the question is that a John Lee car? Well, a lot of you who know my business partner, Mr. Vincent Wong, he is the Aston Martin guy. So that's not really the type of brand that I drive. So, as you know now, I'm a father. So I've been driving a lot of uncomfortable cars, so one of the best comfortable cars that you can actually drive is a Bentley. So we have a Bentley over here, and this is Bentley Pangbourne. They've got some amazing cars. They've got the Bentley Bentegas, which is very good if you've got a family, if you've got kids. You have the GTs, which they've got the convertibles as well, so comfortable. But a lot of you know me as an entrepreneur. You follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you know that, you know, my personality is all about doing whatever it takes. My personality is about finding that burning desire in what creates success. And I think whatever we do, we've got to do whatever it takes, and we've got to have that speed, that force. It's about the speed of implementation that creates success in life. And so I'm right now here in front of Lamborghini Pangbourne. So you probably guessed it. Yes, you probably know what brand I've gone for. I've gone for another Lamborghini. So the question is, which Lamborghini? Oh, before I forget, I have to wear a mask. Hey Craig, how's it going?
John, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Are you excited to see your new car?
I can't wait, it's going to be amazing.
Fabulous, let's go and see it.
Let's do it.
Okay John, let's go and see your new car.
Awesome, brilliant, thank you. It's beautiful. We have to do the social distancing thing, right?
Yes, if we stay a metre apart, we can remove our masks.
Okay, perfect.
So I won't get too close to you. So what we'll do is we'll have a look around the car. As you can see in the sunlight, it looks fantastic.
It's kind of like it's not a flat blue, is it? It's kind of like a pearlescent.
It definitely is.
Sparkles, yeah.
Yeah, it was the launch colour for the Aventor S Roadster, so it's designed to work with this car. So to run through the controls, what we'll just do the exterior first. So for example, to open your front boots, if you were to remove your roof, you have to open the door, and by the foot pedals, you pull the lever.
Right. Okay.
Then open the front boot.
Yeah.
To open the rear engine lid, so if you wanted to show your V12 off,
yes,
you recline the passenger seat when the door is open, and it's a silver lever that you just pull, and that will then open the engine cover. One of the most important points, the fuel flap.
Okay.
So when the car is unlocked like it is now, if you push on the indentation, you can then unscrew the fuel flap, and this part will sit.
Because normally when you take it off, you normally have it hanging on off the side, don't you?
Yeah, you don't want it damaging your lovely bodywork. And then after that, it just goes on, and you twist, so the Lamborghini logo is straight, and then you close the fuel flap.
Fantastic. So this is a Roadster, so how does the roof come off? You press a button and it just goes into the back? I mean, where does it go?
Unfortunately not, John, because it has such a fabulous large engine, the roof cannot automatically go behind the engine. So you have to manhandle the panels off. To do that, you need to pop the front boot, so I'll just open that for you. If you'd like to then open your door, if you reach behind the head restraint, there's a button to recline the seat.
Oh yeah, the red one.
And if you lift up, there's a release lever. If you pull the release lever, support with your right hand and then your left hand. Fantastic. If you then walk the panel round, the numbers on the panel will correspond with the numbers under your boot. So the numbers in blue, 1, so you just find point 1, which is in the corner there. That's it, that way round, perfect. That just drops in, clip it in. Perfect, and just pull the lever across where the red lever is, pull that across, and it's ready to take the next panel.
Gotcha, okay.
Should I do that one for you?
Yeah, if you do that one, So do the doors have to be open in order for the roof to come off?
Correct.
Right.
Yes, they do. They must be open. As you release as well, one other little tip is just to cover the pinpoints back up. Looks a bit more aesthetically pleasing.
Gotcha.
Okay. So we just need to line up the numbers. So this one will go here, the bottom two. Perfect. And then close the boot.
So after that, there's not much boot space left then?
No, but you can get a small soft bag in there, no problems.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be thinking about boot space when you've got the roof off and appreciating this car.
That's also true.
So directly above the start-stop switch, it's your modes of driving. So there's 3 driving modes and 1 personalisation mode.
Okay.
So just to run you through quickly, if you use the right-hand toggle switch, so it highlights Strada, you then jump to Sport, and then Corsa.
Oh wow, the dials change as well.
Exactly that. So Strada is effectively like street mode, comfort mode. Sport makes the exhaust valves open, sharpens up the steering, the suspension, makes the throttle response a lot more reactive. Corsa, our favourite mode, is race mode.
Right.
Makes the car very aggressive in the manner of how it drives, set up really for a racetrack. The beauty of Ego is you can personalise 3 of the characteristics of the car between the 3 modes. So for example, I've set up one of the favourite setups I use on the country lanes. Okay. So your 4-wheel drive system, your powertrain is set up in Corsa, so it's more 4-wheel drive,
Okay.
Your steering is set in Corsa, so it's a lot sharper, nice and tight, very precise. And your suspension is set in Strada, so you have the softer suspension, but all the lovely noise and the reaction of the car of how it should feel.
Gotcha.
Any questions on that?
Nope. It's so if I put it into Ego now, like this, I can change any one of these settings.
Of course, yeah. You just do it on the rotary knob in front of you. So you just push in.
Powertrain.
There we go.
Ah, gotcha. So okay, I see. So that means you can have a loud exhaust, but without all the complicated settings.
Exactly. Okay, John. I've run you through some basics. I think now it's time for me to jump in the driver's seat on a familiarisation drive so I can run you through the controls, answer any potential questions, and then we'll have a swap 5 miles down the road.
Perfect, let's do it.
Great, let's mask up. So as you can see in Strada mode, it's very relaxed, it's up the gearbox very quickly, so we're doing 30 miles an hour and we're in 5th gear.
Okay. Wow, that was amazing. Take off my stuff?
Yeah, let's take them off. We're in the outside, so let's throw that back in there. So what did you think?
It's an amazing car. I mean, compared to the Hurricane, it drives, it's got a lot more, it feels a lot more torque, it's a lot more powerful. Yeah. It's got that I guess that rawness, that grunt. Yeah. The gearbox feels a little bit, you know, when you're changing gear, it's got a little bit more, it's not as smooth as the Hurricane, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, if you look at the design of the car, it's an edgy, fierce looking machine, and I think the gearbox, once you've mastered it, should feel that way. I think if it was really smooth, it would take some of the character away from the car.
Do you get a lot of your clients that change in from like the Gallardos and the Hurricanes and then into the Aventadors, and they really, it's almost like the way you were driving it, it feels like a completely different, it's a Lamborghini, but it's a completely different car. Yeah,
I mean, it's more agricultural in the way you operate it, it's more mechanical. You know, clients normally would start with the V10s, we do have the odd bunch that will jump straight to the V12 and then they'll work their way up. I think once you get into the V12 and it gets into your soul, it's really difficult to go back. You know, when you're V12, the noise, the drama, the doors, the engine, that fantastic music you can make on the paddles, it's just fantastic.
When you look at Lamborghini as a whole, I mean, if you look at these ones they're naturally aspirated?
Correct, yeah. So the V10s have always been naturally aspirated, the V12 as well. The only turbocharged engine we have now is with the Urus, the four-wheel drive, so that's a V8 twin turbo. I kind of feel that when this happens, it'll be the end of an era, because this engine has been in the cars from the 60s.
Wow.
You know, effectively the V12, not the exact same engine, but the V12 unit.
Wow.
So it's iconic to the brand.
So I heard a story many years ago that Lamborghini was born from the competition of Ferraris. Can you talk a little bit about that story?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So Ferruccio Lamborghini was a very successful businessman, involved in lots of different things. And the way it worked was he bought a Ferrari, which he loved, drove the Ferrari, and he had a few problems with it. So Enzo Ferrari, the boss, he managed to get in contact. They organised a meeting. So Ferruccio turns up to the meeting with his list of problems with the car. Long story short, Enzo got a bit frustrated with how the meeting was going and said to Ferruccio, "Get out of my office. If you think you can build a better car, you try." And that's what happened.
This is what was born.
Yeah, I mean, you know, from the 1966 Geneva Motor Show, when they showed the Miura, which wasn't the first car, but it was the first real super sports car, you know, in the 60s, it was the most beautiful thing. And considering it was his first attempt, you know, wow, Ferruccio really had entered the marketplace with that machine.
With that said, shall we take a break?
Your turn.
My turn, okay.
Let's swap. I'll grab my mask, and if you jump in this side,
Perfect.
We'll lead through the lanes back.
Excellent, let's do this.
Cool. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was great. It's quick. It's quick. The gear changes on that. The ride, stable. And actually the gearbox is not that bad, is it?
No, as long as you learn to work with a gearbox, it's actually fun.
Yeah.
You make music.
Yep. No, it's really, really good. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to own one of these cars.
No, thank you very much for your business, and hopefully it's there's going to be another one to follow.
Yep. Let's do this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
For those of you that didn't guess, I did go for another Lamborghini. It's my 5th Lamborghini. I went for the Lamborghini Aventador S, and the reason is because it's a newer car. It's the gearbox a lot smoother. I was going to go for the SV, but it's just too raw for me. This is like an everyday car that you can just use, you know, just go around town with, and easy to drive, and it's got the rear steering as well. So thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you soon. So that's it, we picked it up, we're now driving her back, and gearbox is smooth. I'm actually in the Ego mode right now. So if I put it back into Strada, it actually feels like a normal car. It's not as loud. Also the cabin is, you know, I'm going what, 30, 40 miles an hour now in this 50 zone. And it's not that windy. You know, it's kind of like my hair, obviously my hair is kind of like flying everywhere a little bit, but other than that, it's not as windy as I anticipated. So yeah, it's pretty smooth, pretty smooth. If I put it into sports mode now, the dials actually change color, so you'll hear a little bit more of like a pop, like, so that you can hear the exhaust. You see that? So you get this da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, now I'm coming back down to traffic lights, dropping down a gear. Very, very smooth to drive. It's not as smooth as the Hurricane, but it's not that far off. And in fact, if I look at this between my Gallardo and the Hurricane, this is kind of like an in-between car, like in terms of the way it drives. Yeah, run out of fuel. Had about 10-20 miles left in the tank. So, yeah. Cheers.